So when it comes to setting up a local Tezos node, there are not many options as of now. So one of the options that I've tried was written in the official docs of the Tezos repository, where they tell you to install all the dependencies and use the Tezos-node module to run it, to run the local development node. But I wasn't really able to set it up and it didn't work out. So then I came across Flextesa, which is a Docker container flexible Tezos sandboxes. So it's essentially what Ganache is for Ethereum ecosystem. So how will you install it? It's really simple. It's actually a Docker container. So all you need to do is install Docker, and then you need to run this script here. So let me tell you how you guys can set it up in a VM so that you can directly use it without worrying about running it in your local machine. Now, why I want to run it on a virtual machine, the primary reason is it's kind of a huge package. It's almost like 2.5 GB container, which is too much for me. I don't want it to run on my local device. So what I'm gonna do is I will SSH into my virtual machine. Once I am in, alright, so once you are here, all you really need to do is create a file called flextesa.sh. You can name it anything you want. So you can see I just copied the text from here to here. Now you might get this thing that here the image is different and the script is also different. And the reason is simple because it's been updated after the Hangzhou update. So now if you install using this way, you will get the support of Hangzhou. So you will get the support of on-chain views and all, which is a good thing. So you can directly copy and paste it. Now make sure you have Docker installed. So installing Docker is obviously super easy. Go to their website and follow the instructions. It's pretty easy. Then all you have to do is provide the executable permissions to your file that we just created. So one second, we'll do chmod +x and then the name of the file, so which is Flextesa. So once this is done, you can directly run this file and it will do everything for you. Now make sure one thing, if I just cat it here to show you, you can see I'm using sudo in front of Docker because I haven't set up Docker without sudo. So this is one additional step that you need to go through. So if you're facing some issues with running only Docker run, so you can use the sudo in front of it. Although it's not a good idea, you should always set up Docker without sudo. So you can look into it about how to do it. So after doing it, you can directly run it. And one more thing to mention, you can see here block time is 1 instead of 3 that is mentioned here, and block time is basically the time between the blocks. So if you reduce it, the time between the block will decrease, so you will get a performance boost. Now all you really have to do is run it. So you can run it like this, Flextesa and sh, and this will set up a Docker container and it will start running the Docker container on port 20,000, and you will be able to access that specific port from anywhere. So which is cool thing. So if I show you, let me just copy the URL IP address of my virtual machine, and if I go here, paste it here, and then go to 20,000. So if you go to the port, you will get an error. But if we go to, for example, chain/main/chain_id, you can see this is working pretty well. Now I will be doing one more additional step, which is setting up Up Ssl certificate and setting up reverse proxy for this specific port so that I can access this specific URL using my custom URL with SSL certificate like this. So flextesa.devcorn.com. Now you can see it is working pretty well, and now you can see it is also protected by SSL certificate. One more thing that you need to make sure, when you're running this, if you don't want to set up SSL, so you need to set up SSL actually. If you do not set up SSL, and if you're just using it with HTTP, chances are you might get error. So because you will get like course error, then you will have to manually fix them. So that is one thing. So in order to avoid it, you need to set it up. So let me show you my Nginx config. So we'll do cat etc nginx sites dash enable and then Flextesa. So you can see it's pretty simple file. We are listening for port 80, and for this specific URL, if you try to access on port HTTP, so on on port 80, which means HTTP, then we will redirect it to HTTPS. So this is another HTTPS server. So we are listening at 443 with SSL, and then here is our URL which we are listening, and these are the SSL certificate. In order to generate SSL certificate, you can use certbot, which I will show you how to do it. Then you need to set up location / and then proxy pass. This is what reverse proxy is, and then you can set up error page and location. So these are like default content, but this is important. Now how will you go about setting up SSL? So it's pretty easy. Let me just do sudo certbot to look into the command. So you can see all you need to do is do sudo certbot cert only, and then -- standalone -- preferred -challenges, and then http://01 -tflextesa.divcon.com. Here comes your URL. Now make sure to do one thing. You need to stop your Nginx before running this command. So first of all, you need to stop Nginx. How will you do it? You need to do sudo systemctl, and then over here you will do stop nginx.service. So once that is done, now you can run this command to create SSL certificate, and then you need to again restart your Nginx config. So once that is done, then you will be able to set up SSL. So if I show you my Flextesa config again, so you can see you need to add these two lines in order to validate SSL certificates. And once this is done, you will be able to access your Flextesa on a specific domain. Okay, now let's move to the next step, which is setting up this node or adding this node to your Temple wallet. So first of all, go to your Temple wallet. From there, first of all, you need, so I have already selected this, but generally it would be like, for example, Hangzhou here. So what you need to do, click here, then go to the settings, and now go here to the networks, and now you need to add your network. So how will you add it? You need to add a name. So for example, VM. Here you need to add the RPC URL. So in our case, it is going to be https://flextesa.divcon.com. And here for the Lambda view contract, you don't have to do it, it's optional. So now when you click on the add, you can add it directly to your list. So in my case, it's an error because I've already added it. So right over here, not here, here. So you can see https://flextesa.divcon.com. So this way you can do it. So once that is done, if I show you my node, so if we go to the Flextesa, and you need to import the account. So if you go to the official documentation of Flextesa, you will find certain scripts that you can run. So right over here, in order to get information about the accounts, you can do this. So I'm going to run this, but since I haven't set up Docker without sudo, so I have to do it. Okay, I think the issue is this is script variable. So what we will do is we will source our Flextesa file so that we can access this variable. So once I sourced it, so we're getting an error, but that's fine, we don't want to run it. Now once we did it, if I just do echo, I will be able to access the script variable that we need. Once we did it, now we can run this command. Now you can see you will get this information of about 2 accounts. So you can add these accounts. So in my case, these are these accounts. So this is the Alice account. So I can actually change the name just by going to the settings. Sorry, just by clicking here and going to the maximize view. And now I can edit. So I can say Flextesa and Alice. Alright, and in the same sense you can also import Bob. It's pretty easy. All you really need to do is here. So I've already added this one. So it's pretty easy. All you need to do is go to the import account and then paste the private key right over here. So this will import the account, and now you can perform this like the normal transaction. So if I show you, if I try to send around 1000 XTZ to someone else, if I click on the send, I will select the account and I will send 1000 XTZs, and let's go fast. And when I send it, so now I will confirm the transaction, and you will see it's done. So it is really fast because it's a sandbox node, although it's not as much fast as Nginx is in Ethereum ecosystem, but it is better than running like using your testnet for development. So this is how you can do it. Now let me show you one more thing. You can also execute the commands using Tezos CLI. So first of all, you need to create this alias. So alias and then tcli, and this is actually the Tezos client from the Docker. So I will do it, but I need the sudo in front of it. Depending upon how you have set up Docker, you might or might not need sudo. Now I can use tcli and then get balance for Alice. Alice is the default account that comes with it. So you can see the balance of Alice, which is apparently more than I expected. So it's almost 2 million XTZ. So then the other account was Bob. So if I look for Bob, okay, so this account is actually Bob. So it's not Alice, it's actually Bob. So I can actually change that by going here and doing this to Bob. Awesome. So this is the account of Bob. So in the same sense, you can also do transaction using tcli or Tezos CLI here, and it's pretty easy. So let me just show you. So you can do tcli transfer like this. So you can do tcli transfer 100 from Alice to Bob. So we want to transfer 100 XTZ from Alice to Bob. Now I'm typing the time in front of it to calculate how much time does it take, but if I remove it, then you can see it's done. It's almost done. So it's fast. So in the same sense, if I show you by typing time in front of it, you can see how much time it takes, and you can see it takes almost 2 point some seconds. So this is how you can set up a Flextesa node. Now one more thing, I will show you how to deploy any contract on this node. So it's pretty easy. Since we have already set it up, all we really have to do, we need an account which has some test XTZs on our node. So we have accounts. Now let me just go here. So I will also show you how you can do interaction with this node and do simple transfer calls on your node. So it's pretty easy. You need to import your Tezos Tequito toolkit object and in-memory signer to sign the transaction, and .n I have actually put the private key in the .n file, so I will not show you. Now you need to create the Tezos toolkit object and put your node, Flextesa node here. URL, in my case it's https flextesa.diffcon.com, and then you can do tezos.set signal provider, and then you can create an in-memory signer object so that you can sign the transactions using a private key. So now I will show you how you can do, how can you send XTZs from one account to another, and it's pretty easy. You need to do tezos.contract.transfer, then you provide the information to an amount, and then you wait for some time for the confirmation, and then you finally print the object hash, operation hash, and then you can look for the errors if there are any. So if I want to run it, I can just do node and then the file. So in my case it's transfer.js, and depending upon the network latency and all, because we're not running this in local machine, so it takes almost 5 seconds, which is much faster than what you would expect from the testnet. So once this is done, what you can do now, let's talk about how to deploy a contract, right? So if I go to this startpool.js, so I have a contract here, so which is located, so which I have compiled using SmartPy, and which is inside the output directory. So now I can directly read the code, so you can see read it, and then I can use my Tezos, I can use my TechVito to actually originate this contract. It's pretty easy by doing tezos.contract.originate, and you provide the code in the Michelson and your initial storage in Michelson, and this way you will be able to deploy it. So if I show you node startpool.js, so this will basically deploy a contract, and you will get the address. So you can see you get the address, and now you can actually play with this address if you want to. All right, so this is how you can deploy any contract. So another thing is you can also deploy the contract using your SmartPy CLI. So it's pretty easy. So the way it works is by doing, let me go. So if I go to the code directory, and if I just open any random file, let's go to the scripts. So let me just list all of the files which are Python. So we'll do grep and py. Okay. Talk about interoperability. So we have this simple contract here, which I don't know if it does anything. So in order to compile this contract, I could do test and then interoperability, and then provide the output directory and hyphen HTML flag to see the HTML output. All right, so in the same sense, you can actually compile it by doing compile, and it will compile it. But in my case, I don't know if I have the compilation target, but you need to have the target. So once you have it, so you can see I don't have a target, so then you can use this command called SmartPy originate contract, right? And then you provide the code by hyphen code, and then provide the path of the code in Michelson, and in the same sense storage, and then you provide your RPC node. So in this case, your RPC node would be https flextesa.divcorn.com, and then you also need to provide your private key, which will be used to sign the transaction. So if I show you the docs of SmartPy, so if I do SmartPy --help, so here you can see you do originate contract, you provide the code, you provide the storage, you provide the RPC URL, and then you provide the private key as well. So once you did it, it will deploy that contract on your Flextesa node. So this is how you can use a developer node, or Flextesa node, I would say, and this is how you can set it up and play with it. So yeah, this is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So as of now, there are not really cool options to test contracts or like to set up a local developer node, but I feel like Flextesa is one of the way which works really well. So yeah, you can try it out.